Welcome, everyone.
Oh.
So today, Mars, at the last degree of Leo, is exactly conjunct Donald Trump's ascendant. So if my hair turns orange and I start looking like Donald Trump, please forgive me.
Just as long as you don't spew his racist diatribe, you'll be fine. Just fine.
You'll stop me if I do, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we have this beautiful Venus star point. It was exact on Tuesday, the 13th. And many of you have heard me speak about Uranus being in Taurus and Venus being particularly important now because Venus rules Taurus. So the Uranian wave of awakening is associated with the Venusian power of love and beauty, the beauty way. So whenever Venus forms an aspect or changes sign, it's particularly powerful through the next 7 years. The Venus star point occurs when Venus combines with our great local star, the Sun, and starts a new cycle, a 9-month cycle until the next, what's called the Venus star point. Ariel Gutman coined the term, and it's become a very interesting signature to observe in how we are given an opportunity to dive deeper into the beauty of our own being. So this Venus star point occurred at 2111 degrees of Leo. So anyone with late Leo or Scorpio, Taurus, or Aquarius in their chart is being highly activated now. The Sun I associate with the solar star, the light within us, the being that we are as an immortal being, as an eternal being. So whenever a celestial combines with the Sun, it's like a homeopathic tincture is added to the Sun. You know, in homeopathy, a very small, minute amount of particular material can have a really powerful effect. So even though Venus is much smaller and you wouldn't think she has that much influence over this big, beautiful star, when she combines with the Sun, she adds her tincture as a homeopathic remedy to the Sun, and adds this quality of beauty and radiance of the feminine ray emanating from the immortal soul. The immortal soul, like the sun shining, shines in all directions equally. He or she has his own nature. But when a celestial combines with the immortal soul itself begins to emanate a particular quality of being that celestial, in this case Venus, represents. So we've had this really beautiful emphasis on the sign of Leo, in August, which begins to shift tonight with Mars entering Virgo just after 10 p.m. tonight, and then quickly followed by Venus and Mercury, and then the Sun as well into Virgo by the end of the month. So I approach astrology in an evolutionary way. In other words, if you want to understand the nature of Leo, you look to the sign of Cancer before it and ask how Leo might be the next natural step from Cancer, and then how Leo then prepares our consciousness for the gateway of Virgo, which follows Leo. So Leo is in the natural bottom half of the natural wheel. The bottom half of the natural wheel is about us exploring a new aspect of our own personal identity. It's the phase of self-realization in a new quality of being that we're exploring throughout one or more lifetimes. So as it starts in Aries and then begins to unfold through the previous 4 signs through Cancer, and by the time our being has experienced those 4 gateways of the previous signs in Leo, then we're ready to make contact with our immortal soul, the Sun, the solar radiance within our being, and become a star in our own right. The Sun, as we know, is not just the Sun, it's a star. And when I made that transition from experiencing him as not just the Sun, but a star, his being that's really penetrated in the core of me. It's like, I'm so close to this awesome star. Wow, you look at the other stars in the heavens, and they're just little twinkling lights, and here we have this star right next to us, and we call it the sun, So this brings to light something I touched on in my previous talk about the sacred hoop and the 4 directions, being each a particular quality of being that's necessary for the wheel, and having a unique quality to add to the wheel that only that particular direction of the wheel can add. In modern, this might be a little controversial, but I'm going to talk about the ego. We got someone waving his hands over there.
I can't wait to get rid of mine either.
The ego has gotten a really bad rap because of many, Eastern traditions and others that claim that the gateway to ascending, or the key to enlightenment, is destroying the ego. But from my experience, the ego, when it's healthy, is an essential quality of being that I embrace and celebrate. And the sign of Leo is the full flowering of your unique identity, and in modern terms we call that your egoic identity. So you can then embrace yourself as unique, as having something that only you, because of your individual and unique life experience, can offer to the wheel and others around you. The bad rap the ego gets is when a person doesn't have enough healthy ego. So when I watch someone who's bloating, as I mentioned earlier, Mars is on Donald Trump's ascendant. Rather than having too much ego, I realize they don't have enough healthy ego. They haven't come home to the beauty inherent in their own being and what they have to offer as a shining one. The star we call the sun is so brilliant you can't help but notice him. And he gives life to all life here on Earth. So when we've made contact with our immortal soul, the light within us is a natural radiance the person holds. You'll notice that they glow. And there's nothing to prove there because they know who they are. Once you know who you are and make contact with the beauty of your own soul, then the mortal realm and the drama and chaos associated with it is no longer dominating your being, but just an opportunity to shine that light as a shining one in the darkness. So we've all had this particular opportunity throughout August being presented to us to come forward and shine our light. And if a person hasn't made contact with their own soul, then the false ego will tend to bloat and dominate the scene and take the stage. That's the shadow side of Leo, where in order to be the brightest star in the room, the brightest light in the room, it dominates the other lights in the room as a means through which then they gain self-confidence. You would think Leos are very confident, but anyone who is a Leo or knows a Leo will sense that they sometimes are very insecure. Anyone here a Leo? Yeah, you relate to what I'm talking about? Yeah. Because the astrological sign you've embraced is something you're learning to do. It doesn't come naturally. And in the earlier stages of Leo, in order to affirm the brilliance or brightness or value of your own light, the person may rely upon the applause they receive, the attention they receive, how much they rise in the polls, as a reflection of the brilliance of that light having effect on others around them, because they haven't yet made contact with their immortal soul and the true value of the radiance that they carry in and of itself, that needs no affirmation, recognition, or approval from others around you, because it radiates from the inside out. Leo is associated or rules the heart. So when you make contact with your immortal soul, your heart chakra will naturally open. and you'll feel that you are centered in the heart. And there's this brilliant or beautiful light that radiates out from the heart and spreads out to the other parts of your being. So how many of you have achieved that experience or feeling of being a shining one? With a few hands raised. And that way the world can do its thing, and you're no longer controlled or at total effect of it, but you realize that you always have the ability and opportunity to be a light in the world. So tonight, with this shift into Virgo, the Leo to Virgo cusp is a highly magical one. It's associated with the Sphinx. The Sphinx has the body of a lion, Leo, and the face of a woman, Virgo. So Mars tonight will conjunct the degree of the Sphinx, and to add to its power, the royal star Regulus has advanced into Virgo in the 2000s. This is like a 2160-year Virgoan age of Leo beginning, because these stars will take about over 2,000 years to wander through a particular sign. So the Regulus was naturally associated with those who are in positions of high recognition and rulership. So the last 2,000 years, we've had this Leonine rulership quality that was recognized as the king and queen sitting on a throne. But the shift to Virgo is saying, okay, once you have the natural next step, once you realize the shining star within you, is to want to be a service to others, and to take that raw talent, that brilliance of your own being, and through sharing it with others or giving it away to others through service, finding out how effective you are in translating that light into the lives of others. Virgo is not very well understood by many astrologers because they're not looking at it as a part of a process. Virgo naturally follows Leo and then prepares us for Libra and the top half of the chart. So when you experience Virgo that way, you understand its opportunity and its part in the process of self-development. Virgo is still on the bottom half of the wheel. The bottom half of the wheel is about us perfecting our concept of ourselves, our experience of our own beauty. So Virgo really is still it's the last phase of self-perfection. And one of the words I associated with Virgo is impeccability. It's the impeccable use of your energy. And through putting yourself at service to another, you're actually serving yourself and refining. Virgo is also connected with refinement. The natural abilities you carry as a living son. By laying your hands on someone and them hitting the floor or being healed, you realize that you're effectively translating the light of your own being through your hands, because Virgo was the hands, it's handiwork, to express the beauty of that being in service to others. But it's not so much, service to others, it can be a little bit misleading, because you're still serving yourself in the lower half of the chart. You're using service to others to perfect your talent, the medicine you carry. So as you become more efficient and impeccable in translating that light through some practical means, because it's an earth sign, to others, then you realize the full polishing of the diamond, because Leo can be like a rough diamond. The diamond saw is needed to polish the facets so that the inner light of the diamond can reveal itself. And the act of service is that diamond saw polishing the rough diamond, so it can be a little edgy at times to reveal the inner light. Virgo is also a mutable sign, so this kind of confirms and emphasizes feedback loop with Virgo, because when you're in a mutable sign, you need to be very flexible, open, and in a listening attitude to the feedback you're getting from the service that you are involved in. It's like being an auto mechanic. Virgo, you take something apart and look at it and fix it and hook up the wires and then turn the key. If it hums, then you know you did it right. But you're listening to the car to tell you how effective you've been with the use of your talent. And through that process of acting impeccably and then listening for feedback, that allows you to be more effective in translating your light to others around you, is the process of Virgo. The reason I'm taking some time with Virgo is because we have this giant Virgo stellium of energy, really concentrated, with Mars going into Virgo tonight, and by the beginning of September, Mercury and Venus and the Sun also being in Virgo. It's a huge congregation of Virgo and energy where we may be called to duty, called to service. So if any of you have been contemplating going to work and making yourself available to others to share a new aspect of your healing work or being, this is an excellent time to take that step and start rendering that service or expressing that aspect of your being, the quality of healing that you carry, to others as a feedback process. So what I'm suggesting here is don't wait to feel that you're perfect before you share, because it's in the process of sharing it that you perfect it. And the higher octave of Virgo is not perfection, it's progress. So rather than seeking perfection, the higher, more conscious Virgos look for progress, not perfection. So each time you share, you progress in your understanding of the nature, the specific nature of the gift you carry, and how it can best be expressed within your world, the world around you. Any questions about that? Are you clear? Okay, do you have a question?
Wouldn't Virgos get like mad at their car and expect it to run all the time?
Yeah. Okay. So, looking at the chart of the Venus star point, will give an indication of the opportunity of the next 9 months. The next Venus star point occurs in June of 2020, and this is going to be a very significant one as a higher octave of 2012. So we are preparing with this Venus and Leo star point, to be recognized, seen, and noticed in the brilliance of our being. So we've shifted from the last Venus star point was in Scorpio at the end of October. So since the end of October through just this beginning of this week, it's been a real psychic battle, in the right use of our Kundalini fire. Scorpio is always connected with our Kundalini fire. And Venus, at the less conscious levels, can look to others as to confirm their beauty, their value. And Venus in Scorpio she has a difficult time in Scorpio because she's in an opposite sign to her own nature. Can look, particularly with men, looking to women to confirm their own personal power, their sexual power, their energy as valued and capable of partnership. So we've all been tested in that aspect of our being, particularly in relationship to one another, to understand the right use of that attractive power of the Kundalini awakening. So particularly women may have had somewhat of a challenging time over the last 9 months. But with Venus having shifted into Leo, now it's time to party. And we've certainly been celebrating on the mountain. And it's a rather dramatic shift. It's really opened up the door to celebrate the beauty of our being by becoming a shining one. So if any of you are on the verge of becoming a movie star, I want to get your autograph now. Okay, in Mount Shasta and along the west coast, The Venus star point chart has Taurus rising with Uranus in Taurus right on the ascendant. And Uranus by sign is squaring the Leo-Venus Sun conjunction, the Venus star point, and squaring Mercury in Leo, in early Leo. Uranus in Taurus, which began in earnest last year, is a new form of money magic being presented to the world. Taurus is our ability to attract to ourselves, ruled by Venus, that which we need to sustain or maintain physical incarnation. So throughout our human history, we've experimented with all manner of what we call economic exchange. At the root of economic exchange, which we sometimes call money, is a certain kind of magic. A magic that's based on common agreement. You know, the paper I have in my wallet has no intrinsic value. But I go into Berryvale and I show someone this worthless paper to somebody and let me walk out of the store with all his groceries. Yeah, I mean, every time I do that, it's like I'm just kind of blown away. That it's like it hit me that this is magic. You know, wave one of these funny-looking pieces of paper in front of a homeless person, like a $100 bill, and you watch their entire countenance change. That's magic. That's power. So we have these common agreements that we call economic exchange, and now it's gotten to the point where it really is magic. You know, you punch this funny-looking thing I'm holding here in my hand a few times, and somebody, you know, sends you a new suit, or you know, how does that work? We just take all this for granted, but when you really tune into it, this is magic. So with Uranus and Taurus, I think the human race is beginning to understand the nature of that magic, and that we can actually create new forms of that kind of magic that empower people to have real value in return for their contribution to the world around us. That's why the whole, you know, imbalance in our economy, the split between the wealthy and the rest of us, is becoming so center stage. It's because we're on the verge of the people themselves becoming more conscious of what I'm talking about here. This is magic that we have, that we can manifest in different forms by common agreement that will open up the floodgates of a more conscious and purposeful way of exchanging with one another to recognize each other's true value. And this is particularly strong on the West Coast. So I would imagine over the next 9 months that new ways of supporting one another on a community-wide level, so that we recognize the value and beauty we offer to the community around us, is mutually rewarded in ways that we had not imagined or understood before. But a whole new way of exchanging with one another, energy for energy, will begin to emerge as we realize new ways of sharing the wealth, let's put it that way. The wealth of our inner being and outer being. The square would suggest that, well, if I really speak up and show my stuff and I take the stage, will I be supported by the community, quote unquote, financially? Can I make a living? Can I attract the support necessary to continue expressing my creative talent? That's the square. The Venus star point would suggest go for it. You can't know until you actually get on the stage, especially now with the Virgo coming in. Express that beauty, the beauty of your light, the shining star within you, and then allow the universe to reflect back to you through unexpected means, because Uranus is always the unexpected. New ways of being rewarded and recognized for the beauty you share. So, any of you who are quote unquote struggling financially, don't look to this funny paper in your wallet. That's not the amount of that funny paper you have in the bank is not your true source of wealth. just recognize that there are unimagined ways where the community itself will recognize and support you that you can't define in the common terms that have defined our security and safety and support in the past. And this is like a 7-year process, so we'll see how that unfolds. Any questions about that or comments?
Love it.
Okay. Am I speaking over your head, or do you get it?
We'll find the
Caught a little bit on the
find
shady
the pot at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Starwalker. The 7 years.
Excuse me?
7 years?
Yeah.
Where's the 7 years come from?
Uranus takes about 7 years in a sign. And it just entered Taurus last year, so about 6-7 years. Yeah, 2026, I believe, is when it enters Gemini.
That's your ruling planet, isn't it?
Gemini, my ruling planet?
No, you're honest.
Yes, correct.
Likewise.
Yes, sir.
You think crypto will be a lot higher in 7 years?
That's one form of money magic by common agreement. It's like intrinsically crypto has no value, but if enough of people agree that it does by investing in it, you're getting the magic part here. It's all by common agreement. So that's why it's so unexpected and electric and will take sudden turns of events. But it's like through the creation of crypto, the idea of cryptocurrency, it's like some people are starting to get that this is all just a magic game here. And we can create a different kind of magic than the one that's dominant on the planet. So they come up with this high technology, Uranus is connected with technology, that opens the door for the opportunity for others to agree with it. But it's not going to work unless we have common agreement. I mean, right now we have common agreement that this funny paper in my wallet has value amongst us, all of us, worldwide. But that's being challenged now because the U.S. dollar is no longer dominant.
In the year 1200, it was tulips.
Yeah, tulips. Okay. Yeah, and we had, and then amongst indigenous cultures there was certain qualities of beads or buffalo hides. But it was all by common agreement. And in fact, in those previous instances, the items exchanged did have true value. But since the dollar lost its backing and became fiat currency, it's just become a complete, total magic game.
What's the magic going to be like if the lights go out?
Yeah, well, that's when you find out the true value of friendship and community, and the unexpected support you may have from people you had no idea were even there, or complete strangers. So you see this happen during crisis moments amongst, when there's a mass shooting or something like that, people, total strangers, will just appear out of the blue and come to a person's aid. So it does have a certain kind of unexpected quality to it that can't be predicted. But what I'm emphasizing here is the magical component of common agreement, and how we are unwittingly agreeing to the idea that this funny looking paper has value. If I didn't have confidence in that, if I didn't agree to that, I wouldn't attempt to go into Berryville, fill up my card, and show them the money, show them the funny paper. They'd think I was crazy, right? But I'm going into this a little bit because this is like, once people get this, on a collective level, we'll come up with all kinds of new ways of exchanging true value. That will open the door to this, the resolution of this division between the rich and the poor. Because there are certain people in high finance that understand this magic very well and play the game very well. That's why you have the big house on the ocean.
They need to level.
They just know
the
they're just magicians who know how to manipulate that magic.
If they care to stay on their island wherever, they need to level the playing field.
Right.
Otherwise, it's going to be overrun by minions with no millions.
Yeah, and as this magic is understood more collectively, then the people themselves will begin to exchange value for value amongst themselves, and won't be so dependent upon the money magic that's so dominant now. I'm going into this at some length because Uranus is on the ascendant on the west coast. This will be a key quality of consciousness that will become increasingly center stage. Okay, so any comments or questions so far at this point? Before I go further.
Can I use quality of consciousness?
Mhm.
Can I use quality of consciousness? I like that phrase.
Oh, can you use it?
May I?
Yeah, as long as you send me royalties, yeah.
All right. When I become a movie star.
Okay, so to get down to the nitty gritty here, tonight Mars entered Virgo at 10:19 p.m. and will remain in Virgo throughout September into early October. And then the next celestial to enter Virgo is Venus. She enters Virgo, this is all Pacific Daylight Time. She enters Virgo on the 21st of August. That's next Wednesday at 2:07 a.m. And she remains in Virgo until the middle of September, September 14th. And then the Sun enters Virgo at 3:02 a.m. on the next Friday, the 23rd. Then we have a Venus-Mars conjunction in Virgo, with Mercury then entering Virgo, ruling Virgo on the 29th at just after midnight, 12:48 a.m. on, that's a Thursday night, in the dark of the moon, with the new moon then on Friday the 30th at 3:37 a.m., which really anchors in the process of the Virgoan perfection, or impeccability, that I've been talking about earlier in the talk. And so we can see how gradually the Leonine phase of perfecting the shining one, or making contact with the brilliant star within us, reaches its fulfillment. And if we have then realized the beauty and power of the immortal soul shining through, then we'll naturally want to extend ourselves to others around us and engage in a new active service. And that will increasingly become apparent through the end of the month, but particularly anchored on the 30th by the new moon in Virgo. And then the first week of September is really quite significant, because we have the Sun conjunct Mars. And whenever I talk about a conjunction, it starts a whole new cycle. In the case of the Sun, it's a yearly cycle. The Sun-Mars conjunction sets a new proactive phase of expressing your light into motion. And that'll be in the sign of Virgo. And then the following day, on the 3rd, Mercury conjuncts Mars in Virgo. And then later that same day, the Sun conjuncts Mercury. So we have, within a 2-day period, 3 cycles of major significance beginning to set in motion a new level of active service. So the new moon on the 30th of August begins to open the portal, or anchor it. And then on the 2nd and 3rd, the anchoring of that process and real clarity about the best means through which to express that brilliant light of yours in active service really begins to seed itself in a very powerful way to open the door to in the Sun's case, a year-long cycle. Mercury conjuncts Mars less than a year, and the Sun to Mercury is also less than a year. But beginning to really recognize the specific nature of the gift you carry by the feedback you're getting about the effectiveness of your service. So if any of you are wanting to start a new job or new expression of the medicine you carry, I would suggest from the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th of September onward is an excellent time to make the commitment. And then by the 13th of September, we have the full moon in Pisces, which will bring the Virgo phase into full light in terms of how the service we offer has really served the higher compassionate expression of the heavenly worlds, and in a divinely ecstatic way. Because if we're in true service to ourselves or one another, it opens the door to ecstatic union, because Pisces is opposite Virgo, and Pisces is the gateway to the heavenly worlds.
What is the date of the full moon?
Full moon's September 13th, the harvest moon,
Okay.
and it's at 9:33 p.m. here on the west coast. So just after sunset, it'll be going full. It'll be a really beautiful moon. And it's on a Friday. So there's going to be some partying on the mountain, I think.
The 13th?
Yeah.
Friday the 13th?
Friday the 13th, yeah. So we'll have, by the 13th of September, since we've applied ourselves during this Virgo stellium, we may find that we have a great deal to harvest in terms of insight, understanding, and appreciation of the gifts we carry, because we've made the effort to express the beautiful light of our being in service to others. So if you have, some stop and go, and you're not quite sure which direction to take, don't allow the misdirection of the initial steps to stop your forward momentum, because it's through the process of expressing that gift that you then understand by feedback from others how that gift can be more impeccably expressed as an ongoing process of self-perfection. Because remember what I said earlier, Virgo is about that final step of self-perfection. And that's the more conscious expression of Virgo, where you realize that you're in the process or progress of perfecting oneself, and that perfection as a goal is not an ideal. And then Mercury conjuncts Venus right on the full moon on the 13th of September, setting a new cycle in motion. And then on the 14th of September, a significant shift occurs, because both Mercury and Venus shift into Libra on the same day, within 6 or 7 hours of each other. So the Virgo phase through the 14th of September is really dominated by Mercury as the ruler of Virgo. And then on the 14th, Mercury hands the baton over to Venus, because Venus shifts into Libra, and Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus herself goes into her own sign on the same day. It's like this beautiful handoff of the baton, which then begins the process of our stepping forward with the wholeness of our being. Libra is the first stage of that, in the mirror dance with another who is also whole, and the beauty way really beginning to unfold from that point on. So my sense of the period between now and the middle of September is that we will really be asked to step out of our comfort zones and be willing to share the gifts we carry, and allow the feedback from others to hone and perfect that diamond, that rough diamond that we are, without taking it personally. Because if you realize that you're calling in those to whom you have something of value to offer by nature, and really be open-hearted and not reactive to their feedback, because a person will sense if you're genuine in wanting feedback, or whether you're just looking for an ego stroke, which is the unhealthy ego that I was talking about earlier, because you haven't realized your true value. Once you realize your true value, then you look forward to feedback by people in an authentic way, because you're looking to perfect the gift that you carry. So that, and again, this is another opportunity for self-refinement and perfection, to see how you react to someone else's what seems to be criticism, or whether you recognize it's an opportunity to be even more impeccable with the gift that you carry. And so this subtle phase of self-perfection then leads then from that point onward, 14th onward, especially from the fall equinox onward when the sun enters Libra, into the mirror dance with others and entering the larger sphere of life as a whole and complete being. Okay. Any questions? Aaron, do you have anything to add?
Maybe more of a comment.
Mhm.
First of all, thank you so much again for just everything you're saying. As an astrologer,
Speak up so we can hear you.
as an astrologer myself and studying with so many different astrologers, Eric brings such a unique quality that is so grounding. And you know that Leo energy that we're in, I've been noticing the wanting to be right, you
Mhm.
know, and even if you're talking with your friend or someone you care about, it's like, no, this is what I want to say.
Right.
And in a culture where it's celebrated to shine your light, but maybe for entertainment or not necessarily for practical services, or there's just a few elite Hollywood stars that really get paid the big bucks and
Yeah.
shine their light, I think there's a huge service opportunity.
Mhm.
Coming into the Virgo time frame, you know, the new moon on August 30th, coming into September, it's extraordinary where this group is a great example. Everyone is really beaming their own light. So now it's up to us to refine the qualities of how we're of service to ourselves and others and shine that service to the world.
Yeah.
Let Mount Shasta be an example of that. Let all these smaller communities, you know, be that example. And then it's not about how loud you roar, it's the quality of the roar.
Right.
You know, then that feedback, other people say, thank you so much, I really noticed that. Whether you're like a little mouse or you're like a big lion or a little cat, you know, it's everyone has their own light. And
Yeah.
I would love to see more of that in this country. I'd love to see more of that in this world. And I mean, it's just a moment like this that allows us to make that shift.
Yeah.
And so I'm so appreciative of the reminder too of if you want to shift your job or the quality of your job or how you're of service, this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
It's such an amazing time.
Yeah, what adds to what you were saying is that the fact that Mercury is also in Leo, in the sign of its fall, and that's the loudest voice in the room.
Yeah.
Messenger.
And with like social media and just a lot of, I mean, everyone's really waking up, yet when that passage through waking up, we tend to really want to speak our voice, and then there's opposition, which is
Right.
natural. Yet I've noticed a lot of tendency to try to speak louder, as I'm like,
Yeah.
speaking louder.
Right.
You know, before the service, you can hear me, you know, like,
Yeah.
so I'm feeling that. I have Saturn North Node in Virgo, so it's
Yeah.
like a great time for me to really, you know,
Yeah.
learn those lessons and really anchor in something. So it's exciting, and again, thank you for your wisdom, and
Thank you.
this is worth listening to again, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, as a counterpoint to Leo is Aquarius, right? It's the opposite. So the image I get is like a show like America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
You know, everybody, these really different kinds of talents get to show, and during that 3 minutes or whatever time they have, they're the star of the show. But they have all these others that are talented as well. That's the Aquarian polarity to Leo, where everyone has their time on the stage. No one's trying to run them off the stage before their allotted time is given. So that's kind of the balance point to that Leo, loudest voice in the room phenomenon we were talking about. But I'll be watching with this Mars conjunct Trump's ascendant. We always have the shadow aspect manifest, and this last Venus star point within minutes trying his moon. He's like really going to be going over the top over the next, you know, till June of next year.
I think that's
Oh my
another
God.
great point, whether it's, you know, Donald Trump or anything that's hard to see or something we'd like to see differently. I think if we can go back in ourselves and refine the quality of service, or help someone else refine their quality of service, boy, if everyone just did a little bit of that each day, it doesn't mean you don't pay attention to the politics, or some people are really guided to share and help, but boy, that's a great use of our energy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great example of unhealthy ego, because he's a sorcerer. He knows how to cast spells on people to dominate the room. I mean, everybody that's worked for him, if they aren't like worshiping him, the negative side of Leo, then they're gone. So he knows how to be the brightest light in the room by dominating the other lights or crushing them. That's the negative ego. And hopefully he breaks through at some point in his beingness and recognizes the opportunity to become a healthy Leo and recognize the beauty and shining light of others around him. But he's the dark side of that pattern is expressing on the planet right now. Hopefully, we don't have any Trump supporters here.
Well, it's necessary, it's absolutely
It's a great
necessary
teaching.
to go through this,
Yeah, it's a
to
great teaching.
teach a society that has been addicted to instant, constant gratification.
Mhm.
It's time to go into rehab
Mhm.
and bounce out of that.
Yeah.
Because it's just not tenable.
Mhm. Yeah. So you'll notice with someone who has healthy ego, there's nothing they're trying to prove, but they just have this natural glow and shining light about them that takes the stage gracefully without hesitation and just shines that light. And if it touches the lives of others, beautiful, but it's filled within itself, so complete within itself. It doesn't require the recognition of or feedback from others to affirm its beauty. And you'll notice that with certain, I met a master teacher on Mount Shasta last night who was Chinese, and he just had this, ooh, just being in this person's presence, I just felt my heart starting to open. And that's the healthy ego. And he wasn't holding back, he wasn't trying to humble himself or talk himself down, he was present. So with healthy ego, there isn't either that false humility or that overloaded sense of having to dominate others. It doesn't go either way. It's just settled or seated within itself and shines its light. Thank you for adding that. Go ahead.
So equinox, anything special right around equinox? It just feels important.
Yeah, well, it'll really begin on the 14th, before the
Oh.
equinox. As a build-up. And then by the time of the equinox, we'll really have the Venusian portal really showing itself in great beauty.
Venusian portal.
But between now and then, it's very Mercury we're going. And Mercury is about communication. And with Virgo, it's allowing the physical universe to communicate and give you feedback on whether that car is going to start or not. It's got no opinion about you. It has no attitude. The car doesn't have any attitude toward you. It just knows, this. You attach this new part here, and attach it properly. The car's going to run. It's the physical universe giving you feedback about how effective you are in solving a problem. Yeah. Anyone else?
Can you do a class on ego? An advanced class on super ego? And then do a super advanced class on cosmic ego?
Just love yourself, brother, that's all.
When does the Lionsgate portal finish?
The Lionsgate portal is still actually in effect for the next, until June because of the Venus star point being with it. It's not on it, but it's close to it.
Till next year?
So we have this extended Venusian Lionsgate portal
Wow.
with Venus conjunct the Sun governing the next nine and a half months.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Go ahead.
The metal copper,
Hmm.
what planet is that related to?
I believe copper is Venusian, right? Venus, ruled by Venus?
So,
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, like that's what I thought, I just wanted to make sure. So, just to give an example, you have a copper rod, and on both ends of the rod, one end has a point like a sphere, and the other end has a heart. And going to what Eric spoke about, is knowing how to use that baton, the copper rod, with love properly. Because the ego is a beautiful gift to have,
Mhm.
but knowing how to use it is extremely important.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
Just wanted to share that.
Hmm.
Out of curiosity,
Hmm.
Dave, we
September 2nd?
Yeah, what day of the week is it? I saw you have a calendar, I'm just
Oh.
curious. It's a Monday, all right.
Oh, yeah, it's a Monday.
It's the beginning of the week there in September, the first week. September 2nd is Monday, and then the 3rd is Tuesday, yeah.
Thank you.
And that's actually Labor Day weekend, yeah. So that is interesting, glad you asked that. Labor Day weekend,
Right.
people going back to work, that is a perfect demonstration, reflection of, you know, what those new cycles are offering.
Right,
Labor Day, yeah. Uh-huh.
thank you.
Perfect. Okay, well, anyone else? If we're feeling complete, I think we did it for the night. Much love.
Thank you.